Well, looks like I have a couple new notifications. Let's see. Oh, a comment on the Pikmin tier list video. It's cool to see that video is still doing well. What the f- This is the part where I say this is all my opinion. You can say I'm wrong if you want. Well, no. I am objectively right that winged Pikmin are the second best type in the Pikmin series. And in this video, I'll be explaining why that is and giving my takes on all the other Pigment types, starting with, whoa there, you can't just get straight into the interesting part of the video yet. I mean, that was barely an intro. First, I'm gonna make the objectively right decision to tell you to subscribe right now before I get into the video if you want to see more content like this, because it makes you 54% more attractive. Also, make sure to like the video and comment about how right I am, and now, we're gonna talk about a Pigment type that nobody actually cares about, but I was kind of just obligated to put it on here, because at number 9, we have the Puffman. Once again, shut up about Pikmin Bloom. I'm not ranking every type of Pikmin that has a different shirt on. I don't know why I had to rank these discount toads. This guy shows up one time in Pikmin 1 during a fight you can literally one cycle if you've actually played the game up to this point. It's so hard to actually see if you're not actively seeking it out, which is why I don't have footage for it, and also because I don't have the patience to deal with the Forest Navel 3 times in the same year. But I mean, they were on the tier list website, and people on Twitter keep thinking they need to be on every Pikmin ranking, so I don't know, man. Despite that though, they were on neat content, even if it didn't pan out all too well. That's gonna be a bit of a recurring theme in this video. I like every Pikmin type at least a little bit. Just because I rank them low doesn't mean they aren't good, it just means Bulbmin are better than them. So hopping into our 8th place finisher, we have the poisonous white Pikmin. Sorry, RJ. These guys were pretty cool back when I was a kid. They were speedy and hurt enemies if they ate them, and they could see the treasures underground. They also had cool red eyes. But there's some annoying stuff about the white Pikmin too. For one thing, they have 75% the power of yellows and blues, making them the weakest in terms of attack power along with the wing. But what wings make up for in utility and the ability to more easily fight some enemies, white Pikmin go fast. Their poisonous quality isn't that useful either because of how much harder they are to get than the 3 main types. While this was a mostly good thing for the purples because of how busted they are, it means you usually have a pretty limited number of Pikmin that's otherwise just for utility. White Pikmin are a bit boring to me, honestly. They're probably the most meh type for me. And weirdly enough, we're continuing on to number 7 with the other Pikmin 2 original, purples. First off, yeah, they're busted. In terms of combat capabilities, 2's purples are number 1 in any day. But in this video, I'm ranking them overall based on how good they are from a game design perspective and how much I like them. Like I said, I don't dislike any Pigment type, but I gotta recognize purples are overpowered in 2 and borderline useless in 3. For one thing, they were only in 3's mission mode, and while I didn't have to do too much fighting in the missions they were actually in, they still felt pretty underwhelming. They do kinda help to balance out 2's mind-numbingly annoying difficulty, but they end up making the game feel really unbalanced in no particular direction. That's the main problem I have with 2. Even though I love it, it has mechanics that both, on their own, would make the game either really easy or really hard. When you throw both of these together, it doesn't create a game that has a fun balance, but it makes something more annoying and sort of off to play. But hey, if you want to hear more in-depth stuff about game design, just go watch Masahiro Sakurai's videos. I'm just talking about some funky plant dudes. The next of which is number 6, Blue Pikmin. This is where we start getting into the types I like a lot, but some of them are just better than others. I personally am a huge fan of 3's blues. I love how they made the water deeper because it adds a lot more interesting gameplay to the series that wasn't really there in the previous game's millimeter deep puddles. The way they're able to swim around to fight enemies floating in the water is super cool, and I like that you can actually fight Toady Boisters easily now. But this is about the Pikmin themselves. They were really cool to find in the Awakening Wood for me as a kid before I knew about yellows, so this electric gate I knew nothing about was really neat to find. I don't have too much else to say about them, but this Blue Pikmin says you should like the video and subscribe like I said earlier, but if for some reason you still haven't, you totally should, because it would make me feel good. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the actual trooper that is number 5, Steve the Red Pikmin.
You were staying there, sacrificing your life into the hours of the night to carry back a rotting corpse of a fire-breathing pig.
Outdated Chugga Conroy references aside, Reds are super cool. They're really fun to use in combat in 1 and 3, and they're fun decorations in Pikmin 2. Their 1.5 times attack power makes them really satisfying to charge on enemies and you just watch their health slowly dwindle away. The realization that you've just committed such a heinous act lingers over you, but many more sins will join them because Reds are the first Pikmin type you get in every single game, including Hey Pikmin and Pikmin Bloom. It's a little weird because compared to Reds, the other types are actually weaker than normal. It would be cool to see another Pikmin type be the first in 4, or even have an option to pick a starting type and then lock off all the others until later, with a split path kind of thing. But at this point I think Reds are just a staple type of the series. I'm not complaining because I like them anyway, but it starts to get a little repetitive. 3 actually branched off a bit by letting you play around with the yellows at first, but then went right back to the reds with Alf. But at the end of the day, we'll always come back to PNF 404 and meet our old buddy Steve waiting for us. Now moving on to a bit of a surprising pick for me, we've got the yellows at number 4. These were the first wild Pikmin I ever truly encountered. Sure, I saw Pikmin 2's blues in Awakening Wood, but to reach them for real I had to befriend the absolute Giga Chads that were the yellow Pikmin. I love the changes made to them in 2, with electricity making them more valuable. Yeah, they were useful in 1, but not as cool as in the later 2 games. Although the electricity insta-killing other Pikmin types was pretty stupid. Then it was changed to stun in 3, which is a bit of another example of them going to the other extreme with 2's mechanics. I feel like if the Pikmin died after being stunned for too long, it would balance pretty well. Their little conducting electricity deal was super neat when they used it 3 times. I like the yellow's ears and how it ties into their aerodynamics and helps them be thrown higher. They were given the ability to hold bomb rocks in 1 when the other types couldn't, and gave them more utility and usefulness against the Emperor Bulblax. All in all, great type. But now we're moving on to the top 3, fittingly enough starting with one of the types from 3, the Rock Pikmin. Rock Pikmin are busted, but not in the same caliber as purples. Personally, I always carry more rocks on me than any other type when I play 3, because they're probably the best type for combat in that game. They do great damage against Bulborbs while keeping them stunned, you can just charge them into enemies to do great damage or even insta-kill if you have enough, and they just make the most adorable little noises. They're chunky little guys and we love them for it. 3 expanded upon the slightly different body types of the purples and whites from 2, and made the rocks and wings look super different from the original 3, which makes me super excited for what 4's new types are going to look like. They brought a new sort of crystal element to the game, which kind of just functions as a thing you need Rock Pikmin to break and not much else. They also have a mechanic where they won't die from being crushed, which ends up being surprisingly unhelpful actually. They take a bit too long to pop back up to fight decorated can beetle larvae because they keep getting rolled over by the rocks. Luckily, there's only really one prominent one in the game, so it's all good. But I've talked enough about Rock Pikmin, and I'm kind of just rambling now to be honest. So let's move on to the premise of this video and discuss number 2, the Winged Pikmin. So here we are, the premise of the entire video. Jesse Pinkman. Seriously though, the wings are great. They have amazing utility of being able to carry stuff over a bunch of obstacles. They can fight flying enemies, they can deal with arachnoids, an enemy I really hate, so that's a big plus. They also make noises even more adorable than the Rock Pikmin and have cute blue eyes and an almost comically small body. I've also always loved the little touch they have stripes like bees. As for what they add to the game, well, for starters, there are those little pink sprouts they can pull random things out of, which I think are pretty cool, but not necessarily revolutionary. There are the bamboo gates, which I think are really cool because you have to either choose to leave 10 wings but have an escape route, or take them with you and risk not being able to get away from the 2 most annoying Bulbears? No, grub dogs. The 2 most annoying grub dog types in the game. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. They can also fly over water, which unlocks a lot of the world, but not quite all of it, because there are some areas too deep underwater for anything but the blues to access. I love these Pikmin, but I still have one more type to talk about. The best one of them all, the one that's immune to every hazard except dying. Here's number 1, Bulbman. I stand by what I said in the Nostalgia Bait video. Bulbman, bring them back. I want my boys in Pikmin 4. The wonder that came from finding Bulbman as a kid was unparalleled. Banjo and Smash? Bulbman better. Evil Moment 37? Bulbman sweep. Invasion of Normandy? Guess who clears that too? The fact that they're immune to every hazard makes them such a versatile type of Pikmin. They put them in a submerged castle because God knows you're gonna need help there. They're on rest floors and random cave sublevels to help get Pikmin back. They're absolutely adorable too. The fact that they introduce a potential new type of parasitic Pikmin we know barely anything about is super cool and helps to deepen the lore and mystery of these games. We still know nothing about why humans went extinct on PNF 404 in the first place, and who knows? Maybe the Bulbman could be the key to figuring it all out in Pikmin 4. So what do you guys think? Obviously it doesn't matter because I'm objectively right all the time, but it'd still be fun to hear what you guys think about my list. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe a 3rd time or a Bulbman will appear in your house as you sleep and devour your waffles. Also, remember to turn on your notifications so you never miss any of my incredibly high quality uploads. I say as I roll the blooper reel that's probably like 5 minutes long at this point. This was a super fun video to make, and hopefully it was a super fun video to watch as well. With everything said and done, make sure to watch your back if that subscribe button's still red, and until next time, this is Shootkapow, over and out. First, I'm going to make the objectively right decision of telling you to describe... Describe something. I don't know. First, I'm gonna make the objectively right decision to tell you to subscribe right before I get into the... First, I'm going to make the objectively right decision to tell you to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because it makes you 54... My eye. First, I'm going to... Oh my... I cannot get through this line. That's crazy. First, I'm gonna tell you to make sure... First, I'm gonna make... For one thing, they have 75% the power of what... Yeah, not reds. I'm going to die, because it adds a lot more interesting gameplay to the series that wasn't really there in the previous game's millimeter-deep puzzle. Because it adds a lot more interesting gameplay to the series that wasn't really there in the previous game's millimeter-deep puzzles. Puzzles! I keep saying puzzles instead of puddles. It's puddles, you stupid head. It gets to start a little repetitive. Okay. So let's move on to the premise. I wrote premise in the script. That's crazy.